Welcome back, everybody. It is Jeff and Justin here, the Frustrated Rockstars, back with some talk and roll with a good old friend, Lance Houston from 94.9 The Bull here in Atlanta. And, of course, we were at the Atlanta Brewing Company.
Oh, yes.
Enjoying some Peachtree Pale Ale. And what do you have
Going
there?
with the, it was the oatmeal porter.
Oatmeal Porter.
Ooh, oatmeal
yes.
port.
Great beer here, so we thank them so much for having us. And it's kind of country night, you could say.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about...
I can tell by that shirt.
I know. I mean, really. But Garth Brooks making a big return on his
How about
scene.
that?
You know? All right, but first, as always, let's do something current with the opening act. Are you ready?
All right, so here we are with the opening act, and I guess Taylor Swift is just swifting the nation as she swept the awards.
Yeah.
And at 19 years old, my God. Have you ever seen anything like it?
The youngest to win Entertainer of the Year, correct?
At the CMAs, yeah, she was the youngest to ever be nominated for that award, even, much
wow.
less take it home at the end of the night.
I've got a problem. Can I say this? She can't sing. I saw her on SNL, you know, without any of her studio tricks. She sounds like a girl singing in her car.
Well, here's the thing. When she did that monologue, in my monologue, she was singing awful. You can't deny that.
She's not.
Was that part of the bit, or could
No,
she really?
no. She's not, and she knows it. She's not the best vocalist in the world. It's amazing what they can do with that stuff. But I'll also tell you, Kenny Chesney, not the best vocalist in the world, doesn't always sing well on award shows. But he's one of those guys that goes out and plays for 2.5 million fans every year.
Don't get me wrong, I like
Right.
her, and she,
No, sure.
she's hot as the day is long. I mean, she's a gorgeous girl. She seems very sweet, but Entertainer of the Year over Brad Paisley.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, really, it wouldn't have been Paisley. It would have been Chesney. I guarantee.
for the fourth time in a row.
Yes, I guarantee you the first two vote getters were Taylor and Chesney. I'll tell you this, though. Chesney sold some shows. He didn't quite sell out his show here in Atlanta. Taylor Swift sold out Gwinnett Arena in 30 seconds.
Now let me ask you this.
Talk to a listener. She was first in line at the Ticketmaster at Publix, and the lady couldn't key it in fast enough. She didn't get tickets.
Well, I understand that, but I mean,
Well, we're talking about Entertainer of the Year.
But
Well, it's
We're not talking about
that's a
female
good point. That is a
vocalists.
good point.
We're talking Entertainer of the Year.
Wait, hold on. Isn't this
She did win female vocalist.
Isn't this all?
Isn't this really country people taking care of themselves? If it wasn't for Kanye, the whole thing, she probably wouldn't have won all this stuff. Can
I
we agree
disagree
with that?
No, I
don't
disagree
agree with that either.
I disagree
No?
with that. No.
They're just saying they're kind of
That was
giving
a
her a
blip
little
in the
more
universe.
because of, Kanye
We should
West.
talk about that.
Yes,
What
sir.
is Entertainer of the Year?
Entertainer of the Year.
Let's get Lance's
And I
take on it.
believe, I'm trying, now you're going to put me on the spot here. It reads something about
No wrong answers.
promoting country music
Right?
and album sold and tour.
So there is kind of a formula.
There's
Not a-
4,000 voting members of the CMA, and they can vote for whoever they want, whether they think it meets the formula
But
or
they
not.
take
But
album
this is-
sales, concert
You
sales.
have a description of each category and what
Right.
it means. And yeah, it's Entertainer of the Year.
To me, I thought Brad Paisley earned it this year.
Okay,
He had a
fair
new
enough.
record. He had hits. He could play guitar.
He can.
It just, to me, he's more of a sustainable country artist than her. I don't know how much of her is just like a propped up American Idol type singer.
Okay.
Well, no, Kanye didn't.
Duly noted. And he thinks it's Kanye.
Kanye didn't diss Brad Paisley, so.
But I have nothing against
That's
her.
harsh.
so.
That's harsh.
But anyway, we'll move on.
No, move on. We got to move on to an undeniable country legend,
Oh gosh.
Garth Brooks, in tonight's
Absolutely.
headliner.
And now it's time to talk about Garth Brooks. He's done. Not so fast, my friend. He is back. He is actually reviving his career. Looks like he's not going to do a studio record, but he's going to do a Vegas gig.
Yeah.
And, he's back.
Well, it kind of started a couple years ago with that greatest hits. He did a couple new songs.
And he actually put out a collection of obscurities, B-sides.
He
kind of
did,
thing,
he did,
called
and he
Sessions.
did. I believe he did 9 shows at the new Sprint Center in Kansas City 2 years ago.
Oh, that's the one where they all. He played like 3 days in a row. What was it?
Yeah,
it was like a record.
it was
or something.
9 shows
In a row.
The most expensive ticket was $32.
And not only that, that was closed circuit TV like they do for boxing. You can go to a movie theater and watch
They
those
did
shows.
that. You're right. I forgot about that.
So he's coming. The first thing he's doing is the shows in December at the Encore Win in Las Vegas. So he's committed to like 15 weeks a year for the next 5 years.
Well, Steve Wynn approached him and said, let's do this. And Garth actually said to him, you can't afford me. And when he gave him the number, he said, Shit, you can't afford that.
And also,
I guess they threw money at him.
And he let it. He arranged it to where he didn't have to miss a day with his kids. That was very important to him.
Garth said, I am still semi-retired. I'm not doing a new album. I'm not going to go spend a lot of time in Nashville until my last daughter, who I think is like 14 now, is through with high school. So but he said, I could go on the weekend to Las Vegas, 15 a year. So yeah, 5 years, you got plenty of time to get out to Vegas and see him. What I don't get about this whole thing,
Okay.
Garth and a guitar, and that's it. Garth is known for his shows.
Wait, that's all he's doing?
That's it. It's
I didn't
Garth
know that either.
and a guitar.
So his shows at the Encore.
No band, it's acoustic, it's him and a guitar.
Wow.
So,
To me, that's great.
You pay $125 to see that.
I'd rather see that. Because I've seen him run around on NBC specials.
My thing is that his thing is the show.
Yeah, that is a big part of it, Will.
That's his thing. It's like, come see a great show. There's fire, and he comes out on the piano, and he the rope swing. I mean, that's.
But at this point, we've seen that. And
right.
it'd be better than nothing.
He said it's Garth and a guitar.
It's Garth and
Wow,
guitar.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Isn't it amazing that he can get that kind of pull?
I think Michael Jackson could have done that. If Michael Jackson could have just sat out there and done the same thing, being as big as they are, he wouldn't have to deal with all this propofol. But
Garth is huge, though.
I know, well,
I don't know if you understand, but 123 million albums sold in the U.S. alone. He is the biggest country artist of all time.
He's the biggest selling solo artist of all time, right behind the Beatles.
So yeah, exactly. So he's huge. I mean, he could go out there and check his emails, and people would pay $15.
Well, you know what?
There's nothing.
Steve Wynn gave him a plane.
Yes.
That's
so he
what
go
it's
back
like.
and forth to Oklahoma.
He said, "Here's a brand new plane, and I'll write you a check." The amount is undisclosed.
Right.
All I know is
They
that he
won't
said.
say. They won't say.
oh, really?
Yeah, all I said is he said you can't afford me, and
Then you know that it's big. Wow, that's cool. Well, hopefully, in that time, he'll work up some new material, maybe do an album once all the kids are out of
He's
high
saying,
school.
yeah, that's his next project. Now, Garth's known to get a little antsy and jump ahead on his plans. So
Let's keep in mind that Garth Brooks majored in marketing at Oklahoma State, and he always had first edition copies of his CDs. That way, he made sure that he was #1 on SoundScan every time he released a new album. So he knows how to work it.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see what happens. That wraps up the show, but we got a few more minutes backstage. And we're backstage with our special guest tonight, Lance Houston from 94.9 The Bull here in Atlanta. He does afternoon drive.
2 to 7, Monday through Friday. Shameless plug.
Yes. Usually I'm driving home drinking, so I'll just do what I usually do. All right.
We don't encourage that at all.
We got six questions for you. They're lettered E through E.
Okay.
Question E.
Okay.
What bands did you write on your high school notebooks?
I don't know about high school notebooks. Junior high, it was, Guns N' Roses, Metallica.
Question A. If you could cut one of the Highwaymen, who would it be?
So Waylon, Willie, Johnny, and Chris.
Right.
Well, if you got it, if you're putting a gun to my head and saying, kick one of the Highwaymen out, it's Chris. Sorry, Chris.
Question D. What's in your CD player right now?
This morning, I was listening to new Carrie Underwood CD.
Question G. What was the first concert T-shirt you bought?
Probably Garth.
Question B. If Brad Paisley were a car, what car would he be?
Something funny. Because, he's a very funny guy.
Yeah.
So what would be a funny car?
A Yaris.
There you go. That is a funny car.
Question E. Is Carrie Underwood the best American Idol?
I think so. I
She's
think
certainly the most successful.
Well, that's what, you got to judge best by that in some cases.
Well, Kelly Clarkson has had like 5 #1.
Yeah, but I think Carrie has a little more legitimacy. Like, I forget that she was
She may
American
have
Idol.
more legs, but in terms of
she does have some long, skinny legs, doesn't she?
But
I think she probably is the best. Kelly was very close runner-up.
Thank you, Lance, so much for coming
Wonderful
by and
guest.
joining us. Yes,
Wonderful
great show.
guest.
You can check out our shows at YouTube or subscribe on iTunes or Zune. Of course, email us info@thefrustratedrockstars.com if you have any
always.
questions or topic suggestions. We'd love to hear them.
Lance, thanks for coming by.
Have me back
You've
sometime.
been wonderful.
We absolutely will. Until next time,
Enjoy your music.
The rest of those were superstars in their day.
And you can put Merle in
Taylor
there.
Swift's of their day.